Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sport. Lloyd, happy April Fool's Day. I was just joking.
You know what? You actually weren't.
I was.
I feel like there's some seriousness.
There's not any seriousness there. I'm happy with everything that you're doing, and I appreciate it, and I respect it wholeheartedly.
That's okay. That's fine.
Hi, Jake.
Isn't that kind of Lloyd's role, though, as the program director, quote unquote, the boss?
Yeah.
He has to take the blame,
Take the
heat for literally everything. That was you for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
It's Lloyd's turn to be there. I've been there. It sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No,
I already know it's going to happen.
But, that's why we call him
Maybe not. Who knows?
That's why we call him Salazar. Rules with an iron fist.
Yes, I like that. How you doing, by the way? You good?
I'm good. Good to see you, Scotty.
Man,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out for a segment. It's a busy show. Danny Ainge will join us coming up here in about 25 minutes from now. And we'll also make the show a little bit cooler with Stevenson Sylvester, who'll come by at 1:05.
Oh, nice. Sly's the best. He's so good.
He is really good. And, you hope that, some level of coolness will rub off. No, he keeps it all himself.
Yeah, he is a cool dude.
That is the epitome of cool.
He's always had a great personality, though. I mean, going back to his time at the U, he was definitely amongst the interview all-stars. And, he's great. It's cool that we get a chance to take advantage of him over here.
Yeah, for sure.
Having him, that is.
All right. I want to get your thoughts on a couple things as we kick off this show. Let's do it. Starting the lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, so I apologize. You and Ben are part of my daily routine, except for today. I had some meetings and some other things going on.
You're very busy.
So I was unable to listen. Okay. I assume that, did you go down the Gottlieb route?
We did that yesterday.
Okay.
As it came out.
And so I do want to get your opinion on this. I have not heard your opinion on the Doug Gottlieb thing.
Okay.
But I want to get your opinion on this without knowing what it is beforehand. Here is Colin Cowherd chatting with Doug Gottlieb, and Gottlieb essentially breaking news in regards to the Utah Jazz.
First thing everybody should know is that if the Utah Jazz have the number 1 pick, they're taking AJ Dybantsa. How do I know? He went to Utah Prep, which is funded by Ryan Smith. He went to BYU, which is funded by Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith owns the Utah Jazz. If you want to call something tampering, there's never been a person that has ever been tampered with more than AJ Dybantsa to end up with the Utah Jazz. Ever, ever, ever in the history of anything. Everybody knows it. Everybody. They're drafting AJ Dybantsa.
Ever, 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 ever. Okay, so I heard this, and first off, I want to know what his definition of tampering is. Mm-hmm. Is it hey, we want if we draft you, we're going to take you? This isn't college anymore. This is the NBA. You can tell guys, hey, yeah, if you're available and we're picking one, we're going to draft you. That's not really tampering. So I don't know what his definition of tampering is, but is it any joke or any lie whatsoever that the Jazz are going through what they're going through this season in hopes of getting a number 1 or number 2 overall draft pick? No. I don't know what, everybody's all fired up about this. I don't see what the news is about this. I don't understand. Yeah, the Jazz, are they tanking? Yes. Are they trying to get the number one pick? Yes. If that pick is available at number one, will it be AJ Dybantsa? Yeah, probably. Like, I'm trying to wrap my brain around why this is causing a stir.
Well, I think it's because Doug is a little jelly. I think that is part of it. I think he'd like to have a Ryan Smith there at good old University of Wisconsin.
That is fair.
So I do think he's a little jelly. He'd like to have a little access to AJ Dybantsa. I'm glad you started off on let's define the terms, because what is he accusing Ryan Smith of?
I know. That's
like tampering. What are you talking about? Tampering means something else in college than it does in the NBA.
Correct.
I thought a part that Ben brought up was interesting. Once they declare for the NBA draft, then you can't talk to draft prospects, but that doesn't apply to college players.
Yeah.
No, and an example I used of who was I thinking of? Matt Ishbia.
Oh yeah, the Suns owner.
He's pumping tons of dough into Michigan State. He's a Michigan State basketball alum. He contributes to that program up there. So, is that against the rules now? I'm pretty sure that Ryan Smith can contribute NIL money to whoever he wants. Now, Ryan Smith will downplay, say, I didn't pay for AJ Dybantsa, but he contributes to the athletic department up there. Money is fungible. Yeah. I mean, I have no doubt that he's a big part of the reason AJ chose BYU. And he's allowed, last time I checked, to invest in a basketball-related charter school.
Sure.
Is that against the law?
No.
Is that against the CBA? So what's he accusing him of? I don't understand. Yeah. And then the draft, the sheer concept of the draft means that any team gets to pick him depending on where they pick in the draft. So if the Jazz got the number one pick, it's a sure thing they're picking AJ Dybantsa. No duh.
Yeah.
No kidding. So the only the only positive outcome for the Jazz, in my opinion, if Ryan has been playing the long game and tampering with AJ Dybantsa, if we want to use Doug's word, since he was, 16, you're talking 7 years into his NBA career that could actually benefit you. That's the time when AJ Dybantsa could become a free agent and pick the Utah Jazz. 7 years into his career if he's not drafted by the Jazz. That will mean that's, 7 years as a pro, 1 year in college, 1 year in high school, and
apparently the AAU, a couple of years there.
So when Ryan met AJ Dybantsa, he's like, I got to invest in this kid totally because 12 years down the line or whatever the math is, what I mean? Like 10 years down the line, there's a chance that this guy could actually become a free agent and we would have room to sign him and I could actually convince him to come to Utah. You know what I mean? I mean, what's he accusing him of? I don't understand the advantage for Ryan Smith here other than contributing to the success of a young person.
And is he also laying the groundwork that if the Jazz do pick number one overall and they do pick AJ Dybantsa, that he will have ingratiated so much Utah into his DNA by playing for Utah Preps and then playing for BYU that there'll be no way he'll ever leave the state of Utah?
Maybe not.
Well, to me, that just sounds like good business, honestly.
Right. Or, LeBron was from Cleveland.
Yeah. Hey, look, honestly, if there is a draft that's going to go Utah's way, it'll be this one.
Oh, no way. I think they're losing the pick.
I know they are losing the pick. But I'm just saying if there was one, it would be this one. Because if you look at, hometown guys that play, you bring up LeBron
yeah.
And so that kind of lines up that way. But then when the $500,000 fine hit, then I'm like, I don't think the NBA is going to. Or the only way I can think of, because I don't know where you're at, I think the lottery's rigged. I always do. I have forever. I continue to think that. I know I've talked to so many people that have been in that room that work for the Jazz and say, look, I've been there. I don't know how they pull it off. It looks like legit. I still think there's something nefarious going on. That's just me. Everybody over the Jazz always tell me it's legit. I think it's nefarious. I think something's going on. And so when the Jazz got fined $500,000, then I could be like, yeah, they're not going to go. But the only way that maybe I think that they could pull it off, if they were going to rig it for the Jazz, is to say, look, the tanking is so bad that we find this team and they won the lottery fair and square. So we have to make the changes to make sure that this does not happen again.
Yeah, they parlay it as an excuse to make the changes.
And then knowing AJ Dybantsa will probably stay in Utah, then they're like, hey, no, small market teams can keep big stars.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you, honestly, thinking that there's been some shenanigizing with the draft lottery. There's just way too many coincidences throughout the history of the lottery.
You go back in the early 80s in the frozen envelope with Patrick Ewing going to New York.
And I don't think the NBA does the Jazz any favors.
No,
ever.
Never.
And I was kind of joking about losing the pick because there's like a 0.6% chance or something. But could you see 4 teams leaping the Jazz and pushing them to 9 to
1,000. 1,000%.
Absolutely, I could too.
Yep.
The Jazz had the worst record in the league last year. The worst they could do was 5th.
And they picked 5th.
The one time they won in the lottery was maybe the worst draft in history when they got
Ennis Freedom.
Old Ennis Freedom.
Yeah.
You know, remember when the Jazz had the bad year with Jerry, you know, with Boozer's hammy and Mehmet being fat, and they had a bad year. They got the 5th pick that year. They didn't win in the lottery that year either. They had to trade up to 3 to get Darren Williams. So, no, I don't think the NBA is going to do the Jazz any favors anytime soon.
No, I don't either. And it bums me out to think about it, but I really think that's the case. All right, so you've got 2 home games left. You're at the end of the regular season. You're watching this team play night in and night out. You and Tim Lacombe have done a masterful job of turning chicken bleep into chicken salad night in and night out. And I know that has not been easy. Do you feel a different vibe now? Or I guess let's back up before the Jaren. Obviously, there's a different vibe now after the Jaren Jackson trade. But did you feel like things were getting better this year, even before that trade, than where you were at last year?
Yes, but I wasn't convinced that the Jazz were going to turn the corner. I think, and you talk to people over there, so maybe you can disagree, or maybe this is super obvious, but I think Keontae becoming a guy put things in fast forward a little bit. Because if Keontae, let's say that Keontae wasn't a player and they just decided he was a rotational guy and he didn't meet their expectations this year, which I think he not only met but exceeded. I think the Jazz are still deciding whether or not to trade Lauri Markkanen.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're talking about how the guy doesn't really fit into the rebuild, and you're talking about bringing in another young player, and not necessarily that they would have tanked again next year, but maybe because they've got to find players. I mean, you know, Ben thinks Keontae could potentially be an all-star. You had to identify that potential and had to get someone there. And I think it fast forward to now, all of a sudden you go, okay, Keontae's a guy. Lauri is a guy. That's 2 pieces. Let's go be aggressive and make a move. And they have plenty of resources still left in the tank. They've got a draft pick coming in. And now all of a sudden I think the window switched. So, yeah, I do think some things have adjusted this year where the Jazz felt like, okay, well, now we've got the building blocks. We can go out and do something.
Jazz pick 5th or 6th. They don't have Boozer. They don't have, which, by the way, I don't know how Boozer translates to the next level, but I do think Darren Peterson has a chance to be really special if he's in a good situation. I mean, the kid is just phenomenally talented.
I don't think they're going to get any of those guys.
No. That's what I'm saying. So assuming the Jazz pick 5, they don't get those potential franchise-altering players. They get a good player, but not one of those players.
Uh-huh.
And so you, knowing what you have coming back, without knowing about free agency and anything like that, but knowing the core group that's going to come back, assuming Kessler is back too. Playoff team next year.
Yes, easy.
Play-in team next year or full-out playoff team?
I'd honestly say playoff team. I mean, we could get into the weeds on what other teams are bringing back and that sort of thing. But listen, and maybe I'm jaded by the current situation, but I have no idea how – let me put it this way. I have no idea how the Wizards are never good or the Kings are never good or whatever. Watching what the Jazz have to do to lose games has been mind-blowing. I'm telling you, the Jazz, if they played all their guys and tried this whole season, they could have won 40 games. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Scotty, the last time the Jazz played the Nuggets, who did they bench? They had to bench everybody in the fourth quarter just to lose. It's amazing the lengths that the Jazz have had to go to lose basketball games, not only this season but last season. It's crazy how intentional you have to be that bad. I mean, if you're organically that bad in the NBA, you are the problem.
Yes.
Because it's, and I keep telling Ben this, but the fact that I guess the Jazz were selling, but people out there were selling before this season that they were going to be able to try, but still be bad enough to keep the draft pick. That was a fantasy. Are you kidding? A team with Lowry, and remember Walker was was healthy at the time. Or let me put it this way. To think that getting rid of John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, and who am I forgetting? Colin Sexton, that would be enough that they could organically try with the young players and be bad enough to keep that pick. That was crazy. Crazy. And I'm not going to tell Austin Ainge how to do his job, but the fact that he started out by saying that was over, I would have given him different advice. Start off your career with a lie? He couldn't have thought that was true. There's no way. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
They had to know over there that this season was going to be like this, that they were going to have to pull the plug and go to all these efforts to keep the pick. That pick would be long gone if they did. They're benching Scotty, they're fielding a roster that doesn't have a center.
Yeah.
And the only thing resembling a center, Kyle Filipowski, who is not a center.
We're definitely not a center.
They've had to bench him in the fourth quarter to lose. How crazy is that?
Hey, Kyle, come over here and sit by me.
Hey, Kyle, you're doing well, much too well against Nikola Jokic. Come sit down. I mean, what's wrong with these teams? Ben and I joke about this, too, that Will Hardy's got to be looking over at the coach on the other end of the scores table going, bro, I'm giving you this game. What are you guys doing over there? Are you kidding? Denver had to play all their guys the distance last time these two teams played just to win at home over a team that was like, I can't play Bryce Sensabaugh in the fourth quarter. They might actually win. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm looking forward to next year the most, I mean, to bring this thing way full circle, Scotty, is that I'd like to see a team that is not only, because you can get on board with a young team that's trying really hard. Like you can get interesting nuggets from that to do a postgame, for example. But it'll be great to see a full-blown NBA team actually pouring it on to win basketball games.
Yes.
And that means that you can criticize them too, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
that doesn't
absolutely.
mean that you are just going to compliment the Jazz and, I'm looking so much forward to complimenting the Jazz about their great play. No, how do you criticize this team over the, I don't know, last 2 months, 3 months? Like, how are you going to criticize a team that's intentionally trying to lose?
I'm not going to come on the air and really go after Oscar Tshiebwe. I'm like, it's just, hey, pull your head out. Come on.
Isaiah Harkless has never played point guard a day in his life.
No.
He's out there starting a point guard, and he has 4 or 5 turnovers. I don't mean to pick on Isaiah. I'm just picking something out of nowhere. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? So, if they don't play well in a game against Denver, we can actually criticize and pick out what was wrong and actually take a running storyline, which is what we love about sports. In this situation, we're just in purgatory where there's just nothing because they're not trying to even be good. And players that are good are given the green light intentionally because they're not good enough to win.
Yes.
Like, I think it's cool to watch Kennedy Chandler go pour it on.
40 minutes.
But guess what? The only reason he's got a green light is because they know he's not good enough to beat the team in front of him.
Yeah.
It's the hot dog theory. With Taylor Horton Tucker, let hot dog eat. He's going to lose you plenty of games. But then you have people jumping on the radio the next day like, hot dog at 35 last night. Is this guy a part of the future? No.
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 I mean, look, Cody Williams scores 26 points, 11 of 22 from the field. Do you think at a full-fledged Utah Jazz roster, Cody Williams has 22 attempts?
He's never seeing 22 shots, maybe ever again.
Yeah.
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 And by the way, I think Cody is a great storyline this year. I think he has been one of the real positives. People were drumming him out of the league last year. Remember? Worst rookie season ever. And the truth is the Jazz just threw him under the bus because they wanted to lose. And now he comes back, and he's put together a fine season, and he's figured out what he's good at. I actually think that's really important. But to your point, no, he's never shooting the ball 22 times again on a regular, playoff competitive team, not unless he gets a lot better,
Yeah.
Maybe he can, but certainly,
But no.
Yeah.
I mean, NBA player, yes. Good NBA player, probably.
I like it that he guards.
Yeah, I do too.
You know what? I'm just I don't know. I kind of lean toward those players. Like I
Are you
brought
on,
up
are you on
Elijah
the
Harkless. I love
John
that he guards.
Conchar bandwagon?
I like him as a player. I don't know if they.
He's a hustler.
I don't know if they can pay him though. Is he worth? I mean, can't you find another hustler to play for the league
I
minimum?
would certainly hope so. Yeah.
But he's under contract next year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we led with this, to be honest. I was prepared to come give you advice not to go ask Utah State for a raise.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah, now's not the time.
Why? They're flush with cash now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because I read in the paper this morning that they're $40 million in debt.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, the trip has a whole big
about
thing.
The athletic department or the whole university?
Both.
Oh.
But the athletic department trying to bump student fees.
And then they told them to come back. The students, everybody agreed to it, and they're like, no, we're going to cut that to a third of that.
Yeah, and why they need it. And apparently in 2023, they got $20 million from the general fund. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe this isn't a good time to ask for a raise.
No, I was going to say, Scotty, no, now's not the time to kick in the door.
Try to hold out, like, you know what? Me or nothing.
What's the worst that happens? They tell you no?
And then AJ's calling games next year.
No, I actually recommended AJ as a place where they could save money earlier on my show. Wow. I said AJ plays a big role on the broadcast, but if you're looking for furlough candidates.
Oh, jeez, man.
What?
What are you doing? I do not support that message.
Man.
I don't either.
By the way, we all love AJ. We only hurt the ones we love. All right. Thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate
Let's
it.
talk about punting.
Let's talk about punting. By the way, did you hear when I had Matt Wells on? He filled on a show and we went on the behind the scenes.
Did you
of the
talk
punting
about
thing.
that?
Yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What did Matt
In
say?
his
punting?
perspective.
How in punting, how is there, we just see the guy kick the ball. What details go into punting in situational football?
I don't even know where we were at. We're talking about punting. Let's go on to something else.
He remembered it.
Oh, I'm sure he did. How
He
could you
remembered
forget?
it. And we had a good laugh. Yeah.
Was AJ wearing a light jacket?
Yeah.
While he was feeling.
Yeah. Oh, Matt got after me for that. He goes, "That was out of bounds. You don't."
No,
need to
it
do
wasn't.
You're like you're being a little too hard. Telling the guy to turn his mic off. That was a little bit too much.
I disagree.
Yeah. See that little on-off switch? Why don't we go ahead and turn that off?
Tell us about the wind, AJ.
And I was just trying to test out the mic because we'd had so many problems with it. That filled mic was just giving us fits. So I'm like, Ajay's down there. I'm like, let's just make sure it works. Well, we don't have any more commercial breaks. All right. Well, Ajay, we're going to do a quick little test with you. Just tell me what the weather situation. I'll lead you right into it.
They were going to kick a field goal too. Yeah. It was relevant.
Yeah, it was all relevant, and I wish.
I'm glad I wore it. It's a little cool down here.
I wore my jacket. Oh man, it's going to get back to Ajay, and he's going to feel bad. We love you, Ajay.
You guys did this. I wanted no part of this.
Shout out to AJ.
Yeah, Ajay's the best. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. That's Jake Scott. Coming up next, the great Danny Ainge joins us straight ahead right here on the Zone.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Danny Ainge is going to join us coming up here in just a moment. Have a chance to chat with him as we have through the majority of the NBA season. Always good talking to him and getting his thoughts on where this Jazz team is as we come down the home stretch of the regular season. And then all eyes turn to the lottery balls and everything else that's going to come along with it, as I believe the draft lottery coming up on May 10th. That's going to be a big one for everybody involved on that one. So the Jazz, coming off that loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, will be back in action coming up as they will play against Denver coming up tonight, then hit the road to Houston and take on Oklahoma City after that. Then New Orleans on the road. Memphis at home will be the final home game of the season. And then they finish off the year at Los Angeles against the Lakers. And then that's it. The season gets parked in the driveway, and we look ahead to the 26-27 campaign. But a whole lot of other things leading up to it, though, with the NBA draft and the lottery and everything else that comes along with it. With probably one of the most loaded drafts that we've seen in recent history So that's going to be really fascinating to watch. And again, that's his, I don't know. Are you as a listener kind of bored about the whole tanking thing? Because I am. Like, it doesn't feel like a story anymore. It just doesn't even feel like.
It's so old.
It really
feels
is.
so old.
Like
Everything
old
about
and busted.
it. Done talking about it and everything with the NBA. It's rough.
It really is. It's like, okay, come on. And I know Adam Silver sunk his teeth into it, and that's great. And once he latches on, then that's like the most important thing ever. Like, I get it, but come on. Like, it just seems really, really getting out of hand right now. All right, joining us now from the Utah Jazz, Danny Ainge, kind enough to hang out with us. Danny, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Scotty?
I'm doing great. We were talking about Cody Williams and his development, and when you get to this point in the season, when you've dealt with the injuries that you're dealing with, and young guys have more opportunities, I don't anticipate there'll be a lot of games next year where he'll be able to take 22 attempts in a game. But with this larger sample size, how important is that for your understanding and your assessment of his development?
I think it's huge. I think, Cody missed like the end of the season last year when he would have had some similar opportunities. He had mono. But, Cody has had some great games, as has a lot of our young guys. And it's been fun to watch his development and just how much more comfortable he feels. I think that Will and our coaching staff has done a wonderful, wonderful job with Cody and getting him focused on the things he does good while they're bringing him along with the things he doesn't do as well. And I think Cody has been really fun to watch.
There's a lot of conversations about how players can develop during an off season and the time they spend in the gym. Can players also develop skill sets in the course of a regular season?
Absolutely. Just because opportunity, and every player is different. Like, you can't put all players in similar categories. But I feel like Cody is a very conscientious kid and player. And, he hasn't felt super comfortable, playing with all of our star players yet. But he's getting there, and he was getting there before he's had his recent run too, where he does get a little bit more of a green light. I remember when I was playing in Boston, Scotty, we used to go to shoot around when Bird wasn't going to play or McHale wasn't going to play. We'd have shoot around. We would divvy up his shots. We'd have shooting contests to just say, okay, I get 5 of McHale's shots, or I get 4 of Bird's shots tonight. And those were fun nights. We don't want that to happen in the playoffs, but sometimes, getting those opportunities and being able to spread your wings a little bit are fun for the players.
How do you think he's improved defensively over the last couple of years?
I think he's been really good defensively most of this year. And, I've heard my coaches say he's the best defensive player on our team more than a few times. So I think Cody he's still going to get a lot better too. I don't think he's anywhere near where he's going to be.
Danny Ainge, kind enough to join us, talking Utah Jazz basketball. Ace Bailey getting a lot of opportunities out there as well. When you look back at his rookie year, how do you feel like he's acclimated to the professional game?
Yeah, I think similar in different ways. His strengths are more as a primary scorer, and I think that he's got those opportunities more as, Lowry's not on the court and Keontae's not on the court, but he's shown signs of that most of his life. And but he does get more freedom, and it's not as conscientious as it. Again, like I've experienced this before. Like when I play with Bird and McHale, I'm not the same player, because you got to do different roles and you got to play your role on a team. And so both of these guys and all of these young players, like, they have to find their place. They have to be able to play with everybody and with anybody, and that usually starts with defense, rebounding, and playing the right way. And I'm confident these guys will.
Watching Kennedy Chandler play 40 minutes the other night, what kind of a mindset do you have to have as a player when you sign that 10-day contract? Because, you're going to have limited opportunities to make that impression, but you want to be a team guy, but you also want to get some stats up. How can a guy be successful and make sure he's got that right mindset coming into a situation like that?
Well, it's kind of fun watching the guys that have come in on 10-day contracts, starting with Mo Bamba and, going down the line for the guys. I think we've had 4 10-day contracts this year. It's fun watching because they are hungry. They are playing different, playing better even than they played in the G League. They are, this is a really, really unique opportunity for them to showcase their talents, not just for the Utah Jazz, but for the whole league. And so it's a really important time for those guys. It's been fun to watch their enthusiasm and their energy.
So overall, when you've got guys that are coming back from injury and you're trying to get them through it, is it hard to, when a guy's out with an injury, to try to keep him engaged with the team? Or do you just want him focused on, hey, you get better, you stay on track, and then we'll work you back in when that time is right? Because, you don't want to leave a player behind as you go throughout the course of a season, but you also need to have them focused on the right things.
Yeah, no, getting our guys healthy. I mean, it started with Walker, at the beginning of the season, and, keeping him acclimated, keeping him with the team and being around the guys. And same thing as you go down with Nurk and Lowry and Keontae, all of them, like they're very much engaged with day-to-day team activities and part of the team and working on what they can work on in their rehab and in their development as strength and shooting, et cetera.
I know the time is going to come, and I know you keep those relatively quiet when you do bring in players for workouts for the upcoming NBA draft. I assume those will probably begin here pretty soon. Do you like casting a wide net and bringing in as many people as you possibly can?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think that every year is unique and every year is different in that regard and how wide of a net you put out there. But, our focus will be on the top part of the draft. And, but there's a lot more names that are in our minds right now than are just on, every mock draft's mind.
When you when you're looking at guys that you potentially might be signing that are in the G League or the 10-day, is it advantageous sometimes when you've already had them in for a workout maybe a year, 2 years ago, to go back and reference the notes and the video on that?
Yeah, but I think most of the time we're looking for a player to just see that we haven't seen as much, and we're just looking for different types of players. Like we brought in a couple guys initially with Mo. Like we like Mo, we like what he's done for us this year in the G League, et cetera. But we were bringing in some defensive-minded guys just because we want our defense to get better, and so the defensive-minded guys, they actually have helped our defense be even better and helped some of the guys that weren't as focused on defense as they needed to be by seeing a little bit like Chris Dunn did for us a couple of years ago. So, yeah, we're just looking for guys that really want it, play hard. They can inspire everybody.
Give me your thoughts on Will Hardy and how he's been. I mean, obviously he's done a tremendous job. The situation hasn't been ideal in terms of winning games at a super high level that he'd like. But, when you evaluate coaches around the NBA and you talk to people outside of Salt Lake City that know Will Hardy and know his capabilities, people have just talked about what a masterful job he's given the situation he's in.
Yeah, we're huge fans of Will's. What he's dealt with is tough. It's hard. It's not what every coach dreams of. And we're really excited for next year. And we think we have a great coach ready to lead our team. And he has a lot of respect for everybody in our organization. That's for sure.
So how much I know you're at conference tournaments and NCAA tournament games, and you're watching a lot of games, just scouting players. But just as a guy that loves the game of basketball, were you, and a guy that was a former coach, were you cringing at the end of that Duke game like all of us were?
Yeah, I don't really. That was a tough one for Duke to lose. It was I'm not rooting for Duke necessarily or UConn, but I just that, what an amazing comeback victory. And it's a great feeling to have if you're UConn, but that's a tough one for Duke. And so you go, oh, man, that's too bad because, I know the coach and a couple of the players and one of the fathers that's sitting in the stands. Pretty good. So that was a tough one for them.
As a player and as a coach, do the losses sting more than the wins feel good?
Yeah. I wish that wasn't that way. I mean, there's been some amazing victories that you don't ever forget, but yeah, I think that they do. I think that losses are a little more painful than the joy you get from winning because you just expect to win, and and that's a big, big moment. And so anything less is kind of a memory that you don't want to remember, but for whatever reason, they seem to last a little bit longer.
When obviously there's always going to be the elite one and dones, and we know who they are that will go to college for a year and then make that transition into the NBA and be just fine. They'll be great players. But have you seen better development from players, or maybe you don't have the sample size yet, you need to wait a couple more years, with guys maybe realizing, okay, I can make more money by going back to college than I can being a second-round pick or an undrafted free agent and really testing my waters in the NBA levels. I can go back and make more money. And are you seeing maybe more skilled players coming into the league because of that as opposed to maybe 3 or 4 years ago?
That's a good question, Scotty. I haven't really studied that much. I mean, yeah, there's more money to stay, and I think it feels like second-round picks usually are the people we're talking about. But I think that players that are in the first round are usually coming out, and especially players in the middle to the top of the first round are coming out. But sometimes that's the only opportunity. Like, players don't just necessarily get a lot better in college, and because the game is so different. And, when you're older, you have a big advantage. Just, how much the game has changed. It used to be when you come into college, like maybe there's 1 or 2 players that, left your graduating high school class and entered the NBA early over a 4-year period. And then it went to 4, maybe, that started as freshmen, and then maybe it went to 8 or 10, and now there's just a lot more. And so I think as you're becoming a senior, and in a lot of cases in the world today, you're 5th-year seniors, and you're almost 24 years old, it's a big advantage. Some of the freshmen right now are playing against guys that are 5 years older.
Yeah.
And that is a huge, huge advantage, just physically, emotionally. And so, like, it's not, I think that the physical strength of that age difference and experience helps a little bit. But I think that the young players that come into the NBA, a lot of them do get a lot better and early, as we see. We've just been talking about Cody. Should be a junior right now, and Ace should be a freshman right now. Basically, he's about the same age as most of the freshmen in this. He's younger than a few of the freshmen in the lottery this year. And so, like, those guys just have a lot of good steps ahead of them.
I was talking to a coach up at Utah State about this a few weeks ago, and they had mentioned that how difficult it is for guys. And we were talking about Sam Merrill and Neemias Queta, and how they had opportunities in the league and then had to go back down to the G League. And I'm sure, especially with Nemi, there were a lot of opportunities to go to Europe and make good money. But the thought of, I'm going to stick it out and just keep this dream alive as long as I possibly can before, throwing in the white flag and going overseas and playing there. Is that come down to your agent a lot for these players to say, okay, you know what, this is probably the best bet, or hang in there, I still think you've got a shot in the league? Because obviously their patience is paid off in folds for those guys.
Yeah, so I think it probably has most to do with the players themselves and the risk they're willing to take, because agents will give them options. Here's an option. Here's an option. What do you want? You can make, double the money if you go overseas, or you can stay here and make this. And the likelihood of getting to the NBA is not very good, but you still have a chance and hope. And anyway, those guys, it's worked out really well for us. It's been wonderful to see their development. Well, you've been up at Utah State there, so you've been able to watch these guys and their careers, and it's always fun to see that.
Yeah.
Guys that want to come back to school, like I'm always for the guys that want to go back to school, because there is a big learning process and a learning curve. At the same time, going to the G League like Sam and Kata did, and there's value in it. Like I was mentioning Chris Dunn. Like Chris was in the G League for 3 years after being the number 5 pick, and when we called him up here and signed him to that contract, he said, DA, I'm never going back. I'm never going back. And he played like that, and he has continued to play like that in LA. And, you appreciate that the hard times that you've gone through and those opportunities that they see. And so there's great value in the G League for many players.
When you're evaluating a player, and the last question, I promise, I just love picking your brain on these things. When you're evaluating a player at the collegiate level, and a kid has a chance to be at a school, because you and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. If you're good enough, the scouts are going to find you wherever you're at. It doesn't matter. If you're deciding between going in the transfer portal and going to a team that is going to pay you very well, but you're going to be among a lot of star players on that team, and the opportunities may not be as high, but again, you'll get a lot of exposure and you'll make some money and you'll play some high-profile games. Is it better, and I know everything's a little bit different, but is it better for a player to go that angle or stay at the level he's at, obviously take significantly less money, but certainly have more opportunities and be the face of that team?
Yeah, I think that it depends on the player. Like we talked about the year or the G League for a lot of the young guys, I think it depends on the personality of the player and his confidence and willing to take a risk. I mean, if you do transfer, you're taking a risk that it's not going to be as good as what you have. And you go play in a better, quote, a blue blood program or some better audience watching you. From the NBA standpoint, we're going to find you wherever you are. But opportunity to play, just like we talked about with the young players in the NBA, but on our team, like the opportunity to play, you get a chance to show a little bit more than if you go play for a powerhouse and you get lost in the shuffle, or you're just one of another group of guys. Those are decisions that every player has to decide. And I wish that those decisions were only made based on their careers and their futures. But unfortunately, money plays a big part of that right now.
Yeah. Danny, I've kept you way too long. I appreciate your time as always. Great insight, analysis as always, and look forward to another chat here soon.
All right, Scotty. Good catching up.
You got it. Danny Ainge, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Such an honor, privilege to be able to chat with a legend like that and get his insight on the game. All right, take a break. Come back. What you may have missed straight ahead right here on The Zone.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're hearing the Weezer. Why? Because they're coming in concert, and we want to give you a pair of tickets. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. You win a pair of tickets to see Weezer with the Shins and Silver Sun Pickup at the Maverick Center September 15th. Pre-sale begins at 10 a.m. tomorrow with the code WEMAV26. WEMAV26 at livenation.com. Listen to the Zone all day for your chance to win. If you don't win today, we'll give away another pair during JJ and Alex, but it is a Win Ticket Wednesday. And Weezer's one of those bands where I've been to a bunch of concerts. I've never seen Weezer live. That's kind of a bucket list one right there.
That would be that. You know what?
I bet they
haven't
put
either.
on a
That would be
hell
good.
of a show. I could see them being a great live band. All right, what you may have missed brought to you by Paris RV. See the full inventory at parisrv.com. So it is April Fool's Day, and I would say to all of you, stay off social media today because everybody's having fun. Everybody's trying to do their thing, and some jokes, and some of them are good, some of them are ridiculous. Well, Utah State sent out the picture of their new field. Hey, get ready, folks. Now, you've seen their Battle Cattle helmets. Now they sent out, this is going to be our field next year, where it's essentially a Battle Cattle field. It's got the Holstein vibe to it on the field. Obviously, April Fool's Day joke. But you got to be careful about this with your Utah State, because 2 years ago, Utah State, on April Fool's Day, had those Battle Cattle helmets. They're like, hey, look what our new helmet's going to look next year. And everybody fell in love with it. So much so that Utah State, for the last couple of years, have had those helmets in their helmet rotation. So it started as an April Fool's Day joke. Nobody up there had any intention whatsoever for the Battle Cattle helmets, but the public wished it to fruition. And now they're messing around with the field. Okay, that's probably a bridge too far. But still, I love it when April Fool's Day jokes go over so well that they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't mess around. Maybe we should actually do this. All right, 102.97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, the great Sly Sylvester next, right here on The Zone.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.